What's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite strategies to becoming a better sales rep on the phone or on Zoom. So let's jump in. The setup of the call. This is so absolutely critical to the success. I find that using something like Calendly is somewhat passive aggressive. Most salespeople don't even realize it, but when you're trying to close a prospect and you're sending your Calendly link and you're asking the prospect to do more work, it's not a good look. So what I recommend is using Motion, use motion.com. I have link below in the show notes, or sending your available times directly to the person in email. Right now, we want to be creating a white glove experience for the sales prospect. We want to make them feel like you're delivering this 5-star experience as if you worked at a spa. Whether you're selling professional services, SaaS products, audio video equipment, it doesn't actually matter. It's all about the setup right now. So now that you're on the call, this is an opportunity to try out different approaches. Sometimes I'm talking the majority of the call. That's okay. It's part of my sales spiel. You might have a different one. But also use the opportunity of sales calls to practice where you're listening a lot more, you're asking a lot more questions. There's the Socratic method of sales as well, which we'll get into. Now, the first few minutes of the call, it's gonna be the typical chit chat. Most of the time, the default is, oh, how's the weather in Boston today? Oh, we're in California. Oh yeah, it's really sunny here. It's silly, but it's always a good default. It's non-threatening, and I've seen everyone from your junior sales reps to Fortune 100s use this. So my recommendation is just talk about the weather for the first few minutes. The next one is, don't try to play a character, just be yourself. I know Jordan Belfort's probably telling you to try to sell somebody a pen, or you're like looking at some other strategy. Especially in high ticket sales or high ticket creative services like you're trying to sell, people can see through that bullshit. Focus on building a relationship and coming off as authentic as possible. The most important feedback I've gotten over the years is I've been very authentic when I've been selling, and that's what really resonated with somebody. I said it like it is, I wasn't trying to add too much fluff, and I wasn't trying to oversell them. I was just doing my job. The next point is use a script or create a reference doc. Now, I'm not the type of person who reads from a script. In fact, when I'm doing my YouTube videos, I don't even use a script for that. I have some bullet points that I reference just to make sure I'm covering some of the points, but I'm more of like a freestyle type of, conversationalist or salesperson. So you may be the same. You might want to actually have specific questions you want to read from. The point is just come prepared. Make sure that you're covering at least the ones that you think are going to be important for that call. It might be, how much did you invest last year in technology, or what does success look like in our engagement, or maybe, what's your budget, which is obviously, a very important qualifying question. The next one that's made me such a better salesperson, but also has leveled up most of my sales teams over the years, is recording our sales calls and listening to it back. So Otter.ai is an amazing tool. It's probably the one that I use more than any other right now, where it records and it gives me a transcription. So then I could actually take that transcription and turn it into a sales script or create it into call sheets or call notes for the team. This playback is going to give you a lot more feedback in real time once you start going from, basic skills to really mastering your sales skills. All right, the next one is do some social stalking. Use the tools that are available to you. You've got LinkedIn, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got, whether you're using HubSpot for your CRM or something else, there's so much intelligence on the internet right now. You should absolutely be understanding where this prospect is from, what's their alma mater, maybe what sports do they play. Really understanding a little bit of this person before jumping on the phone with them. Those types of things are actually really important. When we were assigning leads back in the day at Rootstrap, I was looking for ways to match a lot of our sales reps with the prospects. So if I got the vibe that this person might be a tennis player, I would assign it to someone on my team who was incredible at tennis. And guess what? It worked. It was really, really successful tactic because people want to be with like-minded people, and people want to speak to people who are into the same skills as them. The next one is have impeccable follow-up game. Now, what does follow-up game mean? Well, the follow-up game is what it sounds. In dating or in sales, follow up immediately after a call. I've seen so many sales reps do an absolutely killer job on a sales call and completely flop in the follow-up. They got the prospect excited, they delivered an amazing message, and then the prospect didn't hear from them in more than 2 days. It's completely unacceptable. As soon as you get off a call, you should be sending a call recap within 30 minutes. So how does this look? Let's say you spoke with someone, you told them about your prospect, you said you'd be following up in a couple days about an estimate because you maybe need a couple days to do the estimate. That's fine. You should still follow up after the call within 30 minutes with something like, hey, it was great chatting with you, really appreciate your time. Just letting you know that in the next couple days, I'll be sending you another email with more information. Don't be afraid of being a pain in the ass and over communicating. When was the last time you heard a prospect tell you that you were communicating too much? The next one is don't be afraid to text message. I like to get the prospect's number, or during the call, I want to make sure that they have my direct cell phone. Especially when I'm the CEO or I'm in a position of power or influence and a prospect is like, wow, this guy actually made the time to like hop on just an introductory sales call. He's probably really busy, all these things, presuming we did the call on Zoom, I tell the client, hey, I want you to have my direct cell phone. You can message me anytime. It makes them feel really special. I drop it right in the chat notes. And I want to also build a relationship with them on text that doesn't have to do with business. It might just be like, hey, how was your weekend? Just checking in. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? Whatever it is. So I'm creating dialogue outside of the context of just business. I'm actually investing in the relationship, which that's what you're supposed to be doing in sales. The next strategy is building rapport and qualifying early on into the conversation. This might take 15, 20, depending on the call length, it could be the majority of the call. Now, what you're trying to do is you're trying to build rapport at a conscious and an unconscious level. You're also building intelligence, and you're identifying whether this prospect is going to be a fit for you. With qualifying and rapport building, you want to be asking questions like, what does success look like? Have you ever hired an agency before? How many team members do you need? Is the project funded? What was your experience working on, project Y? And then asking very specific questions like, if I were to tell you this project would cost $75,000, how would that make you feel? When it comes to financially qualifying somebody, this is a tactic called a tie down, where you ask the person or the prospect, for example, if this development project were to cost you $75,000, how would that make you feel? You're gonna learn a lot from the prospect based off how they answer that question. Now, you're not saying that that's what your price is or your rate, but you're just asking a question whether, if that's even within a range of what they can afford or what their allocation might be. Now, if they say something like, okay, yeah, that seems reasonable, I was expecting that more or less, that's when you immediately transition to your pitch. All right, friends, so that wraps up my favorite sales strategies. I can't wait for you to implement some of these and become a much better salesperson on the phone. I can't stress enough how important it is getting comfortable selling on the phone. Until you really do that, then going and investing in conferences or other networking events, it's not going to pay off. It's got to start with the phone or Zoom. So get to it. Comment below. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be covering a lot of new topics around business, sales, tech, running creative agencies, scaling your business, scaling your brand. Can't wait to hear from you guys, and have a good one.